Welcome back to another explainer. Imagine, just for a second, that deep down inside you, there's this hidden strength you haven't fully tapped into yet. We're talking about a level of psychological resilience that makes you practically immune to the fear of rejection, failure, or what other people think of you. It's an internal anchor that inherently knows your worth doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion. So today, we're diving straight into the true meaning behind confidence by breaking down the fascinating psychology of what's known as dark confidence. So right off the bat, is your confidence actually real? It's a huge question, right? Think about your own day-to-day life for a minute. Have you ever been sitting in a meeting or a class, you absolutely know the answer to a question, but you just don't raise your hand? Or maybe you're hanging out, you've got something hilarious or insightful to add to the conversation, but at the last second, you swallowed your words and stay quiet? Or you want to introduce yourself to someone new and you literally just freeze. Why does that happen? Well, it's usually because this little voice in your head starts whispering, what if they judge me? What if it's awkward? What if I totally embarrass myself? If any of that sounds familiar, we really need to ask if the confidence you think you have is the real deal. Section 1. The trap of borrowed confidence, when results dictate your reality. To truly grasp what real confidence is, we first have to look at the fake version of it. And the hard truth, the confidence you feel right now might just be a complete illusion. We call this borrowed confidence. This is confidence that doesn't actually come from within you. It comes entirely from your external circumstances. You get a perfect score on a test, and boom, you feel like a genius. You catch a great angle in the mirror one morning, and suddenly you feel incredibly attractive. A post goes viral, and you're suddenly unstoppable. On the surface, this feels totally normal, but there's a massive trap hiding here. That higher feeling, it's just a temporary side effect of getting the result you wanted. It doesn't actually belong to you. This setup perfectly shows just how fragile borrowed confidence really is. You see, when everything is going your way, confidence feels so easy. But the real test hits when things go south. Take a student who is always ranked #1 in their class. As long as they hold that top spot, they're wildly confident. But the very second they drop to second place, total panic sets in. The self-doubt takes over. Or consider a content creator. One viral hit makes them feel on top of the world. But if their next couple of posts completely flop, their confidence just evaporates into thin air. Let's really think about what happened in those situations. Literally only one thing changed: the result. Did that top student's actual brain power suddenly vanish because they got second place? Did the creator's editing skills disappear overnight? No way. Their inherent abilities were exactly the same. The only thing that shifted was the outcome. And because their confidence shattered the second the result changed, it proves that their confidence was never truly theirs to begin with. They were just borrowing it. Section 2. True dark confidence. Self-worth independent of circumstances. Okay, so if confidence based entirely on results is basically a trap, what does the real thing look like? This is where we hit a critical pivot. Dark confidence is a mindset where your circumstances can radically change, but how you see yourself, that stays rock solid. Now, this doesn't mean you never feel afraid. Actually, scratch that. You will absolutely still feel afraid sometimes. It just means that if you bomb an exam tomorrow, your underlying value as a person doesn't drop to zero. If someone rejects you, your core abilities don't evaporate. Most people tie their entire identity to their latest win or loss. Dark confidence is about cutting that rope entirely. The core realization of this whole explainer is this: the outcome can change, but it doesn't get to decide who I am or what I'm worth. Let that sink in for a second. The true meaning behind confidence is that it's built exclusively on internal self-worth, not external trophies. Look, winning is fantastic, but losing is okay too. When you fully internalize that the outcome has absolutely zero authority over your actual value, you unlock a completely unshakable foundation. Rule 1. Never put someone above you. Just to be super clear here, this is not about acting arrogant or walking around like you're better than everyone else. Not at all. It simply means you refuse to put someone so high on a pedestal in your own mind that you end up shrinking yourself down. Think about it. You never overthink how to stand or how to smile when you're hanging out with your closest friends, right? You just exist. But the exact moment you step into a room with an intimidating boss, a strict teacher, or someone you think is super attractive, the script flips. You get jittery, you hesitate, you overthink your posture, your words, everything. Did your confidence actually leave your body? No, you just gave that other person way too much importance in your head. And this highlights a huge danger zone. When you mentally elevate someone above you, your brain starts giving their reactions all the power. If they smile, your confidence spikes. If they look away or ignore you, you totally crash. If they agree with the point you make, you feel like a genius. If they disagree, you instantly question your own sanity. You aren't controlling the interaction anymore. Their reaction is controlling you. You end up morphing into a completely different person just to prove your worth to them. So, how do we practically fix this in the real world? Next time you find yourself talking to someone who triggers those nerves, run this exact 4-step procedure. Step 1, stop focusing on yourself. Step 2, ask them a question. Step 3, actually listen to their answer. And step 4, build your next question based directly on what they just said. You see, hesitation breeds when you're obsessing over yourself. How do I sound? What if I say something dumb? But the second you shift 100% of your attention onto understanding the other person, all that self-doubt naturally fades away. You don't even have to try to look confident. Just focus on keeping the conversation moving forward. Rule 2, accept reality. Okay, we really need to bust a major myth here. A lot of people hear dark confidence and they instantly picture this cold, unfeeling robot who just literally doesn't care about rejection. But people with dark confidence absolutely still care. They're human. They still feel the sting of embarrassment. Rejection still hurts. The game-changing difference is that they have already accepted the harsh reality that eventually people will judge them. People will misunderstand them, and they are completely 100% okay with that possibility existing. Most folks spend massive amounts of energy trying to dodge these uncomfortable moments. Building resilient self-worth means getting comfortable with the fact that these moments are just part of life. Let's use a quick analogy to really nail this down. Imagine 2 boxers stepping into a ring. Boxer number 1 is pacing around, muttering, "Man, I really hope I don't get hit." Boxer number 2 is standing there thinking, "I might get hit. I might get knocked off balance, and that's okay." Watch what happens when reality actually strikes. When that first boxer jigs a punch, his entire mindset collapses because reality just broke his expectation. But when the second boxer gets hit, his confidence stays totally intact. Why? Because he already baked getting hit into his reality. This boxing analogy maps perfectly onto your daily life. When you walk up to a crush, they might not be into you. When you voice a controversial opinion, people might strongly disagree. If your brain is hardwired to think, "This shouldn't be happening to me, nobody should ever reject me," you are basically setting a trap for yourself. You're burning through your energy trying to control things that were never, ever in your control to begin with. Walking around expecting zero criticism is literally a guaranteed recipe for chronic anxiety. Someone, somewhere, is going to misunderstand you. That is just reality. But the very day your mind accepts that reality, something incredible unlocks. You become free. Your brain stops spinning its wheels agonizing over, "Oh no, what will they think?" and immediately pivots to, "Okay, what do I need to do right now?" That shift towards action, that is the true meaning behind confidence. It brings you right into the present moment. You suddenly realize you don't need a round of applause or validation from the crowd before you trust your own 2 feet. Section 3, Building Resilient Self-Worth. Putting dark confidence into practice. As we wrap up this explainer, let's talk about actually making this happen. Dark confidence isn't about pretending to be invincible. It's about training your brain so the world's reactions stop dictating your value. Here is your game plan starting today. First, start noticing when your confidence suddenly spikes or tanks based purely on an outcome. Just become aware of it. Second, catch yourself when you start putting someone on a pedestal and handing them the keys to your emotions. Third, openly acknowledge your fear of judgment. Accept that you might get metaphorically punched in the ring, and that's fine. And finally, practice reacting differently. Remember, reading or hearing about a new mindset doesn't change anything by itself. The magic only happens when you actively apply it to how you live. So, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to think about. Are you going to keep letting the unpredictable world and its fleeting results decide how much you're worth? Or are you going to take the reins back and build your dark confidence? Remember, true confidence isn't about winning every single time. It's knowing that your worth remains completely untouched no matter what the scoreboard says. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep an eye on your mindset, start testing these principles out, and I can't wait to explore more fascinating concepts with you next time.